Our first reading today is from the 37th chapter of Ezekiel. I just really like to read the book as if he's just got some great vivid imagery of how he teaches us of the prophecies that God is inspiring him to write. This particular part is just at the end of the dry bones. If you remember, God shows Ezekiel a field with the dry bones, probably after some military fight or whatever. And he watches. And God puts sinew on the bones, and then skin. And then they stood up. And then he blew the breath of life into them, that they lived again. All of this is just before the part that we had in the reading today, that, as Ezekiel says, what God says to him, my people, I will open your graves and have you rise from them and bring you back to the land of Israel. I will open your graves. He's telling us and prophesying for us that there will be a resurrection. And because there is a resurrection, we can have a hope. And it's very important that we work on that hope. Let's jump ahead real quickly. I'll come back to hope in a minute, about this encounter that Jesus has with Martha. Remember, she was the one who was all a Twitter about getting Mary to help with the things of hospitality. But now, Mary stays home, and Martha's the one who goes out to be with Jesus. And so we have this little tete-a-tete, and when you read the whole longer version of the gospel, you get more about this. But here he comes with or to Martha. And it's interesting, when they had sent word to Jesus that his friend who was sick and dying, he waited 2 days. He didn't go right away. We in our society today have a tendency to want everything right now. Right now. I want what I want it now, and you better get it to me. It's not just 2-year-olds that have that attitude. And sometimes, if we don't do that, we kind of get angry with God because he didn't do what we wanted. Sometimes, God answers our prayer with a yes. Sometimes with a no. And sometimes later. And here's an example that God's word is later. He did not come right away. And then he comes and he talks, and he sees this little dialogue. Our friend is asleep. That's how he put it. Well, that is also used in the New Testament and other places in the Bible, that asleep means to die, like the daughter of Jairus. But here is his friend, and he is asleep, and I'm going to awaken him. Jesus is telling us something. He said, I am going to do something really powerful. I'm going to make sure that he doesn't stay asleep, but wakes up from that sleep of death. And he asked Martha, do you believe? And she says, of course I believe. And that beautiful expression of faith, yes, Lord, I have come to believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God who is coming into the world. That's one of the most beautiful expressions of faith in the New Testament. It ranks way up there with St. Peter, and when he says to Jesus, you're the Christ, you're the Christ. Or St. Thomas, the Didymus, when Jesus comes to the upper room, and Thomas says, "My Lord and my God." An expression of faith. And in fact, one of the things I learned as a child was when at the consecration, when the priest would hold up the host and then the chalice, is to say, "My Lord and my God." You should think about doing that. And it's okay to verbalize it. But "My Lord and my God." It's okay to say that when the priest holds up the host and holds up the chalice. A statement of faith that Jesus is here. And, so Martha has this beautiful description of faith. And then Jesus goes and does something that no one else can do, that Satan can never do. Let me go back to Ezekiel. "I will open your graves." And Lazarus is raised from the dead. Devil can't do that. I can't do that. No doctor can do that. No politician can do that. But God could and did. And that's why we have reason for hope. That when that time comes that Jesus comes back, that he will open our graves and we will be fully body and soul in the fullness of heaven. And there will be no more conflict between our spiritual and our physical existence. No more. They will be so totally integrated. So we should always live with hope. And if we don't live with hope, we lose it all. Look at the signs, even in our church. Look at the sturdiness of our church. We've got this beautiful altar. It can't be moved. It's stone and rock and hard, where the sacrifice takes place. Our tabernacle that holds the hosts after Mass. This pulpit where the word is preached and read. Strong. See, God doesn't desert us. We're not some flimsy group, but something much bigger and better than that. And so we can, because we have hope, walk into hell for a heavenly cause. That we can do. And here's Jesus with us. He came down from heaven and walked in the muck and the mire of the human race. He wept, he cried. He had that powerful emotion. And whenever I talk about this kind of stuff, it always evokes the stupidest song that has ever been made in the history of the human race. You know what it is, right? No, not My Way. That's Satan's song. That's not the stupid. There's one song even stupider than that. From a Distance. Yes, a stupid song. God is watching us from a distance. No. He watches us from right here, right inside of us. He is not a distant God. He's not something way past something in the next universe. That's not our God. So we have the hope. He has shown that to us. And if we lose hope, faith and charity are going to go away. When there's hope, we can endure anything. Anything. And that is so important. In fact, when we have hope, people can actually stay to the whole end of Mass. Because I can see you at getting communion and walking out that door. It's okay. It's okay to stay to the end of Mass. Nothing bad will happen. It just may take 30 seconds more to get out of the driveway, and that's okay. But to have the hope. That's just such a beautiful virtue this week. It's the little program, the booklet that we have. It's one of to feast on the virtue of hope. It's so important. We live in a topsy-turvy world, a world that doesn't like us, and they don't like people with hope. They just want to focus on the immediate rather than what is to come. And there is something so beautiful to come, where our graves will be opened. That's the promise of God. Let us work on hope and enjoy hope and be ready to walk into hell for heavenly claws. Exactly what Jesus did. He walked into the face of evil, the face of death, and conquered it. Our hope is that we will do the same.